Hey guys, welcome back here to Advanced Bass Fishing, and really appreciate you guys coming by the channel and hanging out with me a little bit. And guys, today we're going to be talking about when you want to use a deep diving jerkbait. This is that Megabass Vision 110 plus 2. Here's a good example, guys, of the difference. This is the Megabass Vision 110, just the regular, and look at the lip size difference on the two. This is a unbelievable difference as far as, you know, the size of it and what it does. And there's certain situations, guys, where you definitely want to use the deep diving jerkbait like this, not necessarily to get the bait deeper, but there are some situations that I like it in. So we're going to be talking about when you definitely want to get one of these 110 plus 2s. And also, guys, I'll put the link in my Tackle Warehouse link to the Megabass Vision 110 plus 2 if you guys would like to pick up a couple after this video. Good way to help the channel, a good way to get you some baits there. And also, guys, real quick, you guys know that I do fish my spinning or my jerkbaits on Spinning Outfit. If you guys are looking for a good spinning reel, guys, check out this Lews custom light spinning reel. I've been using this now for several months. Awesome reel at a good price. I'll also put that in my Tackle Warehouse link in the description. Pair it up with a Megabass 6'11" spinning rod, and you got the perfect jerkbait setup there. So all those links will be in the video description here. Okay, here's what everybody uses, guys. This is like the 4.5-inch Megabass Vision 110 standard jerkbait. 8-pound test line on a long cast. You're going to get it down, 6-7 foot, maybe 8 foot on a super long cast with 6-pound line. That's about the max. Now, given this, guys, this is the Megabass 110 plus 2. This bait down here with 8 to 10-pound test line, you're going to get it down probably 15 feet. So it's a significantly deeper jerkbait. Now, let's talk about when you need this and when you want to use the deep lip versus the other one. Several different reasons you probably haven't figured. Okay, the first one is probably one of the most inobvious ones. When you're fishing a deep diving jerkbait like here, it's almost like a cross between a crankbait and a jerkbait. It's got like a crankbait lip. So the bait always wants to dive down. And you're not really jerking it as much as you do a regular jerkbait, but when you're working it, it's always wanting to fight its way down. Whereas a traditional lip here, it's more side to side, darting action like that. So that's one of the things. And sometimes those bass prefer that action about wanting that bait going down. It's just the mood and the personality of the fish on any given day. So don't ever discount that. But the other 2 times, or 3 times really, that you want to use a deep lip jerkbait, number one is if you're in a situation where you need to use heavier line. So let's say, for example, you're fishing a lake that has a lot of heavy standing timber, thick standing timber, where you can't fish it on light line. I fish my baits on jerkbaits all the time, my jerkbaits on Spinning Outfit all the time. But if you're in a situation like you got a bunch of big fish in heavy cover, say, for example, you're fishing a jerkbait down in some thick timber in Lake Fork, you may want to use heavier line, 15, 17, maybe even 20-pound test line. And with the 110 plus 2, you can put this bait on like 17-pound test fluorocarbon and still get the bait down deeper than what you can with 8-pound test on the regular one. So this will allow you to use heavier line in some situations to get the same depth out of the bait as you would with lighter line. Okay, the other time that I use this, which a lot of people don't consider, is if I'm fishing a steep bank or I'm casting into the bank and I want the bait to go down quick. So most of the time, let's say, for example, you're on a channel bank, a steep channel bank, and you feel that the fish maybe are out a little bit deeper off of it. If you throw a regular jerkbait, say straight into a channel bank, something like that, by the time you get the bait down to its maximum depth of 6 or 7 foot, you're going to be almost all the way back to the boat. But if you use the deep diving jerkbait, the 110 plus 2, and you throw it to that steep bank, it digs down real quick. So you can get this bait super deep really quick on a steep bank. So if I'm 45-degree angle casting on a bank that's steep, a lot of times I'll go to the deeper lip jerkbait to get it down quicker. And then finally, guys, two other things I want to talk about. The next one would be on a super windy day. If you're fishing one of those days out there where the wind's howling like 20 miles an hour, a lot of times you're going to get bow in your line when you cast your line, and that's going to keep you from getting your depth out of a regular jerkbait. So on a real windy day, a lot of times it pays off to go to a deep diving jerkbait. And then finally, the obvious one, which a lot of people probably already know, it's going to get deeper in the water. So If you're fishing a situation where you think the fish are deeper, let's say you're in a really clear water environment and you're fishing main lake points, the water visibility is 6 or 8 foot clarity, and maybe the fish are down 30 foot or maybe 40 foot, you can get that 110 plus 2. If you put it on an 8-pound test line, you will get that bait over 15 foot deep. So if you can get that jerk bait down in 15 foot of water and it's clear, it'll pull a bass out of 30 foot of water to hit it. If there's a bass sitting in the bottom on 30 foot of water, it will come up 10 feet or so to hit a jerk bait, no problem whatsoever. So that's a good way to draw those fish out of deeper water on points. Or sometimes I like to fish what I call ditches or guts in the wintertime, where I get in the middle of the cove and I make a long cast straight down the middle of it. Sometimes those fish in those ditches are a little bit deeper, so using that deep lip jerkbait's a good way to catch them in those situations too. So it's just something to have an arsenal to have in your boat, guys. It's worth it to get a few of the deep ones in there because it's definitely a time and place for them. Again, you can pick them up in my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of the video, and hope it helps you guys catch some good ones. We'll talk later.